Hello there and welcome to Brian Lomax's Movie Talk. I've just been to see Spider-Man Homecoming, a little bit late to the party on this one. You've probably seen it by now, but yeah, quick summary. Michael Keaton plays this guy called Toombs, who he doesn't really like the way that the big men, the money men, people like Tony Stark seem to get all the glory, and people like him, the more kind of working class types, always end up on the bottom. And so he starts stealing tech left over from the fight in the Avengers with the Chitauri, and he's using it to create weapons and sell them to people. Yeah, and then we get Peter Parker, and he's kind of being moderated, shall we say, by Tony Stark. He's not kind of allowed to go under his own steam, but he wants to. He really wants to be a part of the Avengers. So he's struggling with that, and he's struggling with kind of impressing Tony Stark whilst being his own man. Obviously, he goes head to head with Vulture at some point, and then, you know, that's the journey of the character, isn't it? How does he become his own man? So yeah, that's pretty much the film. If you've seen the trailers, you have pretty much seen the film. So many moments of tension in this I think were ruined by just knowing exactly what was going to happen, because those trailers mapped out entire scenes. Is the film good? I would say it was good. It ain't great, I can tell you that much. Just going off this first viewing, and you know, I don't want to be too harsh on it, because on my first viewing of Ant-Man, I really didn't like that film all that much. Well, not as much as the other Marvel films. I wouldn't say I disliked it, but watching it a second time, I really enjoyed it. But on this first viewing, I'd say this is my least favourite Marvel film, and I'm talking about Marvel Studios, not other stuff that's been done, like, you know, the Fantastic Four films and X-Men films and all that lot, but by Marvel Studios. I'd say this is my least favourite. So much humour in this film that really doesn't work, because they're just trying to put too much in it. Like, nearly every line is an attempt at humour, and when you feel like they're trying to get a laugh out of you, it almost gives me a resistance to it. So I don't know if I was just in the wrong mood when I watched this, but there were times throughout where I was just like, can the jokes, you know, enough with the jokes already. And the thing is, when the film got to more serious moments, like kind of in the third act, I actually felt like it started working then. That's when it started working. That's when the film was at its best. So yeah, too many jokes and a lot of really bad CGI. There's a lot of CGI that works here, but there's a lot that doesn't as well. It feels kind of really lightweight, like weightless type of CGI. So yeah, it's a bit of a disappointment, I gotta say. Now I didn't go into this like really excited for it anyway, because like I say, those trailers never really got me that excited. And I kind of feel that this film is the film I was expecting, which is something of a disappointment. You know, I've gone into films before not being that excited because the trailers haven't really grabbed me, and then I've ended up going in and actually been won over and really enjoyed the movie. But with this, just kind of that feeling of getting exactly what I was anticipating, exactly what I was expecting, didn't really do it for me. I will say I did like Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton in this is a really great villain. I love Michael Keaton anyway. You know, it shouldn't surprise anyone, me being a Batman fan. I love his Batman. But yeah, it's good to see him here in another comic book movie, only this time as a villain. And I do think he's probably the best thing about the film. Tom Holland was a really good addition in Captain America Civil War. I really liked his scenes. But here, I gotta say, I find him a little bit annoying. Just the way he talks, like really fast and just kind of over the top enthusiasm. It's just a little bit too much. I kind of feel like just dial it down a little bit. Yeah, we get this character of Liz, and I'm not that big on the comic books, so I didn't know if she was from the comic books. I can only assume she was by the time you get to the end of the film, with certain revelations. But the whole time I'm like, who is this character? And the relationship between her and Peter can't go anywhere, because obviously she isn't Gwen Stacy, she isn't Mary Jane, and I know that those are the two characters from the comic books that he had involvement with. So the whole time I'm just thinking, yeah, something's going to happen that obviously is going to tear these two apart. So I never felt invested in that character as a result. I never felt like she was any real kind of partner for Peter. It just, I knew it wasn't going to be the case. So that in a way kind of ruined that aspect of the film. And then when we eventually are introduced to MJ, again, something of a disappointment. It's I'm not saying it's wrong with the approach they go, but it's just not what I would expect in that regard. There you go. It's the one thing in the film that I would say is unexpected, but a bit, yeah. No, I just don't see this character. The character of MJ in this, I just don't see as MJ from what I know from the comics. But yeah, but like I say, I'm not a big reader of the Spider-Man comics. I don't really care that much, but I just wasn't that engrossed by the periphery characters. I liked Michael Keaton. I liked the scenes between Tony Stark and Spider-Man, despite the fact that going into this film, that was what I wanted to see least. So yeah, you know what? I was entertained, moderately entertained. There are some good action scenes, and I do like the villain. So I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. But for a Marvel movie, that's the lowest score I've given a Marvel movie, for the Marvel Studios stuff. So that's actually quite disappointing. But there you go, 3 out of 5 from me. What about you? Have you seen Spider-Man Homecoming? I'd imagine you have by now. I'm a bit late to this, like I say. If so, what did you think about it? Comment below, let me know, and until next time, thanks for watching.